Good morning, folks. My name is Jordan Eller. I'm the Specialized Services and Supports Manager here at Alta California Regional Center in our Community Services Department. Um, Helping host today as John Decker is at a conference and he will return next week. So a little bit about our agenda today. We're going to have our Sign of the Week in Deaf Culture 101 with Michael Mercado. Kylie, our HCBS specialist, is going to help do some introductions for our one of our presenters today. We have Consultants. And then Jennifer Bloom, our Director of Client Services, she's going to share about our client orientation. Hubert Enriquez, our Emergency Response Coordinator, is also going to share some good resources for you guys. We'll give you some QIP reminders and updates, kind of the current status of our vendors' QIP completions for their surveys. And then we can look at the events calendar and look at some ARCA current events that are happening. And then if anybody here too, I do think there'll be time within the agenda if you guys have items that you want to bring up or if there's any PAC members that have things that they would like to discuss, don't hesitate just to let me know in the chat. I will open it up if we have time in the agenda. So without further ado, I'm going to spotlight Michael Mercado for his presentation. Is it he spotlighted for you guys?
When you spotlight him for me, the interpreter, he disappeared.
Okay, because I don't see him now either. So let me fix that. Just one second. Okay, good. Yes. Okay.
Okay, I was like, you turned me off. What's going on over here? That's fine. Okay, so today's sign of the week, we're going to have the Super Bowl. It's happening next week. So hopefully some of you are excited and some of you are like, oh, darn, my team's not going. So I want to teach you guys the names of the teams that will be competing in the Super Bowl. So we're going to start off with the Seattle Seahawks, and then we're going to move on to the Patriots, and then we're also going to learn one more sign. So we have Seattle Seahawks. So it's the city of Seattle is typically it's a 5, and then you kind of go into a fist, and then you shake it like an S, and that stands for Seattle. So next is Seahawk. So you're going to do a 5-hand shape again. You're going to close to like a 1, and then you're going to kind of make a hook or an X, and that's going to go right on your nose. So Seahawks. Because of the beak, specifically the animal, the bird. So that's what it looks like. So let's do it together now. So we have Seattle, Seahawks. And then, of course, we have the Patriots. So the sign for the Patriot is like this. So it starts as a 5. It's going to close to almost a closed C hand shape, and then it's going to drag from the front of your skull to the back. Basically, it's the design of the man, of the Patriot, what it looks like behind him on the helmet. So that's why we're signing it like this, Patriot. And then third is
Versus.
versus. So we're going to show a 5-hand shape, and we're going to go into thumbs pointing up. I want you to imagine that the two teams are one team is on each hand, and then they're competing against each other. They're going against each other. So versus. Let's try that again. So we'll start with the beginning. So Seattle, Seahawks, and the Patriots, and they're going to play each other. Thank you guys for playing along for that. And now I'd like to talk about Deaf Culture 101. I thought it would be just interesting and fun because often what happens is people in the hearing community, sometimes they feel like they want to be able to ask more questions related to being deaf or hard of hearing, but they feel uncomfortable asking directly. Maybe they feel it could be considered rude or odd or just a weird question. So they'll use Google instead. So they go and they type in their questions to Google. So I wanted to share what most people are typing, the most common questions that are coming up related to being deaf or hard of hearing. So the first question is, do deaf people think? The answer is yes, of course. We are just like you guys. We all think. All people are able to do that. They can be creative, use their imagination, have ideas. We all have those skills. The second question is, do deaf people talk? There are some deaf people that are able to speak, yes, and some that don't. Next is, can deaf people laugh? Of course. Maybe you are familiar with me and you think, oh, Michael's laughing. Deaf and hard of hearing people absolutely can laugh, just like anybody else, anyone else. Okay, so there's one reason people ask, do deaf people laugh? And I think what happens is a lot of times people are thinking of deaf and mute, meaning they have no vocalization, nothing comes out, but we are not necessarily mute. We do have vocal sounds that we are able to produce. Absolutely. And some of us can speak words clearly and some of us can't. So that's why people tend to ask that question, can deaf people laugh? And then the next question that's asked often is, do deaf people drive? Absolutely, deaf people can drive. Of course, only if they have a driver's license, just like anybody else, then that would be accepted. Deaf people are able to drive. We are very visual. We see things in our environment around us. We rely on our mirrors as well. But then in general, deaf people just have stronger eyes because they have one sense that they don't use. The next question is, do deaf people have an inner voice? The answer is yes, just like you guys. And if you're curious what it looks like, an inner voice, basically, sometimes that can be in sign language, and sometimes it can be in vocalized in a voice. And other times it could just be something like a dream. They're imagining it. They're seeing a visual picture. So, yes, absolutely, they can have an inner voice. Just something to think about because a lot of people do ask that question. I don't know if you've seen um, the movie related to emotions, Inside Out. So it's kind of a similar concept. So we do have those emotions and that inner voice just like everyone else does. Okay, so next question. Do deaf people think in sign language? Truly, it depends on the individual. Some of the sentences might be spoken, they might be signed. For me personally, I think in sign language, or I think as a visual picture, or, like a movie almost. It just depends on specifically what we're talking about. And the final question, a lot of people are curious on this one. Do deaf people have that ear ringing inside of their ears? Can they hear that? And the answer is yes, they can experience that. And maybe that's a surprise for some of you to hear that. So, in my experience, if there's really loud sounds, I am fully and completely deaf. So, if there's a sound that is loud enough, whether it's a gunshot or anything, really, it depends on the individual and their levels and what they can hear. But like all day, I've heard absolutely nothing today until a motorcycle engine went by me, flew by me, and I could definitely hear that. And then after that, I heard a ringing that continued. Some people that are deaf or hard of hearing use hearing aids, and then when they take them off, they hear that ringing in their ears. So it's a very odd phenomenon for some people to think, wait, deaf people can hear ringing in their ears. But we do have the ability to hear that. It doesn't happen often. It's very rare, but it does happen. And now you've seen multiple questions that have been asked specifically about deaf and hard of hearing people. And this is what hearing people wanted to know from the deaf and hard of hearing community. Again, this comes from Google. but you can't always rely on Google. It's not the most trustworthy thing for an exact answer. You know, it can come up with its own answers or be unclear or truly just give incorrect information. So, the best way to know this is to ask deaf people in the community. I encourage you to get involved in the community and ask questions, go to events, truly go to workshops, whatever it may be, or take a deaf studies or a deaf culture course where you're able to learn more about us. And then you can meet a person who's deaf that becomes a friend. You know, you can learn more than just what your mind is telling you or what you would expect. So truly, it just depends on what you're doing. You know, Google or AI. If you're asking questions about the deaf and hard of hearing population, I am here. I'm the deaf and hard of hearing specialist. So if a question comes up, please do not feel intimidated or rude or concerned or that your question is dumb. No question is dumb. Please ask me. I'm here to support you guys, to educate you, and to have a discussion. Yeah. So hopefully everybody enjoyed that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. Any questions for Michael? All right, if so, and I know, Michael, you always put the information in the chat, so thank you so much. All
Absolutely.
right. And then, so next, I'm going to pass it over to Kylie, one of our HCBS specialists, so she can introduce our next presenter.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, so just a quick introduction. So, Allo Consultation is a consultation and training company. They are based out in the San Francisco Bay Area. We have Jacqueline and Caitlin who are here, and they have backgrounds in quality assurance previously at a regional center, many kinds of HCBS projects with regional centers across the state, and years of direct work in the residential and day services. All of these experiences from them strongly have shaped how they approach training and system changes. They are currently leading a statewide HCBS project with DDS that centers the voices of people who receive services from regional centers. They're going to be leading a free HCBS rights training on February 17th, so that's amazing. It's going to be at Alta for people with disabilities in this area. In the training, the attendees will get to know their HCBS rights better and also be able to create vision boards or communication boards to share what comes up for them during the training. The training might be co-led by a member of DDS from the Lived Experience Advisory Group. So Allo Consultations here with us to share more about this training and how they can support folks in attending. So go ahead, ladies.
Share screen. Thanks, Kylie. Hi, everyone. I'm Jacqueline, and this is Caitlin. Caitlin's sharing screen on another computer here. Thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of your meeting here today. This is going to be a very short presentation, but we'll hopefully give you enough information about what this training will look like and how you might be able to support people that you know in attending. So this is one of our taglines and part of our mission statement. We grew out of a desire to provide humanized, compassionate, innovative resources to the disability community. We are, we think, kind of in a unique place to offer more advocacy, support, and training to people receiving services because of our backgrounds. We don't only train people receiving services or people with disabilities. We train all sorts of folks. We train DSPs, we train service providers, residential, non-residential service providers, family members, different departments at different regional centers, and now we're working with the department. And we're so honored to be doing this work with the department. We're just so excited and happy and grateful that the department is choosing to center training resources and highlight training resources and offer training resources to people who are receiving services. So we work all around the state with these different audiences, and we, like Kylie said, we have a background in quality assurance. I have a background in day program services. Caitlin has a background both in day program and residential services, and you know, have just are just like absolutely honored to be doing this work with you.
All right, so we're working with the Department of Developmental Services, DDS, and their Lived Experience Advisory Group on what we're calling the HCBS Statewide Collaborative Project. There are four parts to this project. It's an exciting and ambitious project. And one of the parts is doing a coaching group with folks from the league. In that part of the project, we have outlined 10 trainings in 10 cities throughout California, and Sacramento is one of the cities that we'll be training in. And through our coaching group, we're kind of taking skills and experience that the league already has, and we're building on that. And so we may have folks who come as more of like a support role for these trainings, and all the way up to co-training or lead training these trainings as well.
So, one of the most exciting things about where we're at right now in the home and community-based services journey in California, and I say California because that's where we work, and I wish I could speak to what's happening in Vermont or Wisconsin right now, but right now, I'm grateful to say that the Department of Developmental Services and many regional centers across the state are shifting the focus, not just for services, training, consultation, compliance, resources for service providers, but we're shifting that to people who receive services. We're not saying like, okay, we're done supporting service providers. We're just saying, okay, like who are we really talking about? Who are home and community-based services all about? It's about people receiving services. And so the other thing that's really exciting is that we're seeing California and the different regional centers and DDS, we're seeing HCBS as more than just a set of regulations, more than just a set of federal requirements, 1 through 10, and all of the federal lingo that goes with it. We're seeing them as rights. And so we have crafted these HCBS rights and presented them to the department and to many other regional centers across the state, and they're really taking off. And this is great. We want to see them as rights, and we hope this knowledge and information spreads to other states across the nation. Do you want to talk about the next bullets?
Yeah, so within this training, we are taking the HCBS federal requirements. We've broken them down into more plain language rights. So this training will involve going through those rights, including all of the discussion that can come up and all of the questions that can come up about HCBS rights and how they could look in real life. When we do this training, we use accessible pictures and plain language, and we incorporate a vision boarding element to that. Sometimes we get questions around if the vision boarding is, how's it going to go if somebody has to cut out images from a magazine? Like, is that going to work? And what we do is we pre-cut hundreds and hundreds of images and have those available. We laminate those images so that they're easier to grab and pick up and affix to whatever the board is. And I just want to make a plug for it. In the time that we've done dozens of these events, and we have yet to have someone who was not able to access the activity. So we tend to bring a lot of support from our team to be able to support people who might not be able to do that affixing themselves. And we have lots of different materials that people can use to affix. And then one of the features of this training is that people bring home an entire folder of different self-advocacy materials and tools and resources along with their vision board creation.
These are our HCBS rights that are spreading around the state. These are the rights that we're basing the training off of and the workshop off of. Happy to drop this in the link before we hop off this call so that you can have a copy of it. You'll see it's in the I and using I language. And, I think we could have made these right. This could have been like a 4-page, work sheet, but we tried to make it as accessible as possible. And so this is what we are using in the workshop.
Yeah, so people will come home with these, participants will come home with these, and then we also have advocacy statements around the major themes of home community-based services.
One of the other things I just want to say about the vision boards that folks are creating is that they're more than a vision board. I think sometimes people hear the word vision board and they're like, oh, like goals and dreams and manifestation. Yes, and more than that. Many times people who are coming, some folks are not using words to communicate. And this is a major way for folks to communicate with their planning team during IPP meetings or just when they're meeting up with people that support them.
Yeah, I want to say one of the recent events that we did, we had a whole lot of conversation around using the vision board in their IPP in their upcoming IPP meetings. So really thinking at it as a communication tool. All right, so who are these workshops for? These workshops are for people receiving services through ACRC. Sometimes we get some questions around like if somebody's able to handle an event like that, like this, or if this is going to be an event that someone will understand. And we just want to say that this workshop is for everyone. So everyone's welcome to attend regardless of any diagnosis, support needs, or communication style that they might have. We're very comfortable working with all kinds of people. And like I said, we typically bring, a good sized team to support any communication or any needs in terms of building the vision board or engaging with the workshop. This is a workshop for adults who receive services. So we're looking at people who are 18 years or older. And sometimes we get questions around or registration around staff. This is not a staff training, but staff are welcome to attend if someone has a support need. Because of capacity, a lot of times we have chairs around the perimeter of the event for staff to be available and close by if they need to. But it truly is a workshop designed for people receiving services. Next slide. Oh, sorry.
All right, so what can you expect? Say your interest is piqued. I'll say we've had folks come with the support of their group homes. We've had folks come with the support of their one-on-one staff or their family member. And mostly, I think we've had folks come with the support of their day program and their day program staff. And so, like, what better way to work on aligning your services and supports if you're a day program or group home than incorporating this workshop into your schedule and inviting all people, seeing who wants to come. So that's typically who does show up. Lots of day programs, it's just incorporated right into your schedule, and it does fill up pretty quickly. So just please make sure if you are interested that you're sharing it with as many people as possible, and that you're supporting them in filling out the form. So we'll be dropping that link here in the chat shortly. In the form, we're asking you questions around dietary needs or accessibility needs. We do our best to make sure everyone has what they need to be there. That may include, maybe there's an allergy to wheat, or there's a need for extra space, or whatever it might be. A translator, let us know as soon as possible. We ask that you make pre-arrangements for transportation to make sure people can attend and stay the entire time. There will be space afterwards to eat lunch and stay there so that there's no need to rush off to have lunch. It's from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. We ask that people do plan to arrive early so that there's plenty of time to get settled, use the restroom, get the food. We typically do like Panera or something like that, like a breakfast sandwich, coffee, bubbly water, other snacks like that. So it feels really exciting to be there and to have this event centered around people who are receiving services. And please know that people like to stay and chat. So having lunch packed, like I was just saying, is really, really helpful. Not just for folks. So the lunch will be, breakfast sandwiches will be provided for attendees, not for staff. And so making sure that DSPs who are coming to support have food and drink for them in the morning time, and that everyone, including attendees, people receiving services, has a lunch packed if they would like to sit, hang out, which most people do.
All right, this is our flyer. We're going to drop the file into the chat after we close out of sharing screen. But here are all the details. I also saw that DDS sent out the event information this morning. So if you're on DDS, they pulled, I think, all of the service providers. So hopefully you saw that come through your email. That has all of this information as well. And And we are also going to put the form into the chat. I'll just say that with the form, the registration form, we're really getting preliminary information around, name, contact information, how many people might be attending. This is a room mostly of service providers, so we are expecting that some service providers might register people, but people receiving services are welcome to register on their own as well. And then somebody from our team will follow up via phone, typically, sometimes email, if that's what we have for you, to just confirm all of the details and make sure that we're set for the event. And I think that's all I have around registration. Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions?
So what is the max participants that can participate? I know space is limited. Is there, guys, a max you guys have for our room here? Or do you guys know?
I think it might be, do you remember if it's 60?
Yeah, we've had a vague capacity at this point, which is, I know this sounds terrible, but it's in the 40 to 70 range.
Okay.
So yeah, I think one of the things that we see that is totally fine is that so Jackie mentioned that a lot of times we have people that fold it into their day programming hours. It's because it's at 10 o'clock in the morning. And so sometimes we will have a day program that registers and there's like 27 people who want to come, and that's not a problem.
Excellent. And it looks like you got some kudos in the chat. One of our staff, our housing specialist, Rhonda Phillips.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Looks like she attended one of your events at the Supported Life Conference.
Thank you, everybody, for having us. We'll put the registration link in the chat.
Is there any other questions, though? I just want to give it just a second. Sometimes people like to just raise their hand or come off mute. That's totally cool. Well, Aslan, Jacqueline, thank you so much. I'm really excited. This is also on our events calendar. So our service coordinators and stuff, and the link is there too, but that's perfect if you guys want to drop that stuff into the chat. Really appreciate your time today. And it is so cool that it's at this point where we're educating the clients about all this, right? It's such an important piece. So it's super cool to see it coming along.
Thank you. We're looking forward to meeting some of you in person.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. All right. So we have Miss Jen Bloom, I believe, right? Our Director of Client Services. Here, I'll remove you guys' spotlight for you there.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you. Thank you for having me today. I just put a little link in the chat. Wanted just to let everybody know that we have developed a new client orientation for people who are determined eligible for regional center services. This has been something we've been wanting to do for a long time, and we just finally launched our first session. We met with 8 community members, new clients to the regional center, on Thursday afternoon. So these orientations are held. We're going to be scheduling them out quarter by quarter. I'll share my screen. The link is in the website, but I'll share my screen so you can see what I'm referring to here. And the idea is that this new client orientation will allow people to just feel welcomed to the regional center, be able to ask questions that they may have. We go through everything from what is the role of a service coordinator? How do you reach us? What are some common services by age group? And what is the IPP, the individual program plan? How can I prepare for that? What can I expect in the IPP? And we had it's a very interactive process, this orientation. We have little polls throughout to keep it moving and kind of to assess people's interest. And registration is required because we want to be able to accommodate language requests if those come forward to us. So that is the reason for that. Let's see. What else can I say? We're scheduled through March at this point. And like I said, individuals can register anytime. If they need a language accommodation, we're asking for some advance notice. I think all of that information is on the flyer. And thanks for letting me share. So spread the word.
Absolutely.
It's not only limited to brand new clients, but certainly, if there's someone who's been with the regional center for a while and maybe just wants to know what we're talking about and what's going on in this orientation, we are happy to welcome anybody who wants to come.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jen.
Yeah, you're
Any
welcome. Oh, there's the
questions on
dates.
that? Oh, perfect. And then we got some more dates. And just for folks, we got to get a little sneak peek at our leadership meeting of some of the videos that are being shown, and it's
Oh,
pretty
yes.
fantastic. So I'm just excited to hear how it goes, and I do think it'll just provide a really cool opportunity for people just to have a little bit more knowledge right before they do their first IPP. So I think that's great.
Definitely.
Yeah,
And
that's
thank you,
great.
Jordan, for mentioning the video. I should have
Yeah,
highlighted that.
yeah, because
We're
it's cool.
working with Futures
Mhm,
Explored,
mhm.
and they have produced a nice little, like 6 or 7 minute video that is just kind of warm and fuzzy, gives a little overview about regional centers, who we serve, how we came to be. There's a shout out to Santa Day in there that makes everyone smile, and
For
it's
sure.
a nice little way to start us off.
Yeah, Future Explored team did a great job. Did a
They
great job with that.
did,
They really
yes.
did. So,
Thank
okay,
you.
cool. Yeah, you bet. And that stuff is also, like Jen said, is on our events calendar. So if you need that information, she also put some stuff in the chat. So thank you so much. All right, so now I'm going to pass it over to Hubert, who's going to share some of resources and his role as the emergency response coordinator.
Thanks, Jordan. Let me just share my screen here. Cool. Everyone should be seeing the DDS webpage, I think.
Not quite
Yeah.
yet. And if not, I
Oh.
do have it as a backup. So if there, it's coming.
We all good?
Yep, we're good now, sir. Thanks.
Cool. All right. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Hubert Enriquez, Emergency Response Coordinator for Alta Regional Center. And just from the DDS homepage, I'm just going to show you guys how to get to their winter 2026 emergency bulletin. So we just go click individuals and families, and then we click emergency preparedness here. And then you go all the way down. Sorry. You go to the emergency preparedness bulletins. So here we have some topics that we'll kind of talk about today. Just some reminders for the winter of 2026. The first one being text, voicemail, and email scams. So during emergencies, a lot of the people that we serve can become targets of text, voicemail, and email scams with criminals and scammers pretending to be helpers or direct support staff, just trying to exploit them for money or personal information. These scams can look very convincing, right? So there's two common types of scams. Usually one of them being impersonation scams, and then one of them being romance scams, someone pretending to like you or someone pretending to have, interest in like pursuing a romantic relationship with a lot of the individuals that we support. So if someone does contact, either you or one of our clients that we support, and they're from a company or an organization, it's important that we don't share information with them right away, right? We go online or ask someone you trust, right? A direct support staff, a family member, or friend to help you find the real website or phone number. Call back using the official number, never the one that's on the email, text message, or on the voicemail that's left for you. And never click links in emails or text messages that involve money prizes or personal information that require personal information, and that could lead to a fake or dangerous site. Scammers can make fake numbers or emails look real, so it's always important. It's always safer to double check before you respond. So protect yourself by telling someone you trust and report it to your bank or local police if this does happen to you. The second topic, right, this is a kind of a hot topic during winter, is power outages. So winter storms, wind, and heavy rain can knock out electricity at any time. And historically during winter, it's harder for utility teams, public utility to fix it during winter just due to conditions. So it's really important to prepare in ways, make sure that you keep flashlights and extra batteries handy, extra phone chargers, and keeping your phone charged and medical devices before storms, and having warm clothing and blankets ready. Make sure that you check with a friend, family, or neighbor if there is a power outage, and especially for those individuals who are dependent on electric powered devices like ventilators or mobility devices. There are actually programs where you could receive free portable batteries. So it's super important that us as regional center staff, service coordinators, or direct support staff check the individual that they're supporting to see if they're eligible to receive free backup batteries for these programs. I believe I've dropped some links in the chat before about the DDAR program where they could apply for free portable batteries, but I'll go ahead and drop that after this presentation. The next topic is how to be ready in case you get stuck in your or stranded in your vehicle, right? The conditions can change really fast when it comes to flooding or fallen trees or flooded roads. Breakdowns can happen really at any time, right? Especially those traveling during winter storms. I know we're not currently, it doesn't seem like there's winter, it's winter right now in the Sacramento area, but during those winter storms when people are traveling down 80 or 50, it's possible that your car can get stranded. So it's recommended that everyone, clients and staff, keeps a car emergency kit handy, including warm blankets, flashlight batteries, snacks and waters, an extra phone charger, a first aid kit, and even a map. I like to keep some hand warmers, jumper cables, and then any sort of like sand or traction in case you're stuck in snow. Maybe a way or shovel to kind of dig out the snow if you do get stuck on the side of the road. And then you might even want to consider bringing extra medicine if you are reliant on a prescription. Another tip is just to tell someone your route before you go, right? I know a lot of the times people love to go to South Lake Tahoe during this time of year, and not everyone gets to go. So be sure to tell someone that you trust, even if you're able to share your location with that person that you do trust. It's always a good idea to have that just so that they know to check in on you from afar and make sure that you make it to your destination safely. The last topic we have is just big storms and high tides, right? So winter storms can bring heavy rain, flooding, and king tides. So it's important that vendors and staff should help people understand that we should never really walk or drive through flooded water, right? It's kind of unpredictable how deep the water is or even how strong the water flow is, right? Stay away from downed power lines or fallen trees just due to risk of, electricity. And it's important to keep your gutters and drains clear to reduce flood risk within your home. Make sure to move your important items off the floor into an elevated surface like a table or shelf. And most importantly, it's just important to sign up for local emergency alerts so that you get real-time information. CalAlerts.org is one of my favorites. It's very simple. You can receive text message, automated voicemails, emails, and phone calls just through that. And you can actually choose it by county. Again, I'll leave all of this information in the chat. And before I let you guys go, I just kind of wanted to give a reminder to the vendors online. I'm not sure if we could see the emergency preparedness webpage here.
Yep, you're good.
For Alta. Cool. So once you make it to our emergency preparedness webpage, I'm sure a lot of you have heard about our communication cards for deaf and hard of hearing clients that myself and Michael Mercado, our deaf and hard of hearing specialists, have made to kind of use as a picture exchange to communicate with first responders, law enforcement, and even shelter staff during emergencies. So just a simple reminder that Michael and I are available. We are making ourselves available to host individualized, very small group-based client workshops for these cards to make it really customizable for them, right? As you can see, there's different blank spaces to really just put in personal information, emergency contacts, and then having an empty card for your own prompts, right? So this card can be used to print out pictures of families or family members, friends, support staff, or even pets, and kind of just post them here, right? So Michael and myself are making ourselves available to programs who may work with individuals who are deaf and hard of hearing, clients who um, may need to use these cards during an emergency. I know a lot of the times emergencies can be stressful. So even for clients who aren't deaf and hard of hearing, who might not be able to communicate in the best way possible, and might need this as a supplemental support as a means to communicate with, first responders or anyone trying to assist them during an emergency. Please feel free to reach out to myself or Michael Mercado, our deaf and hard of hearing specialist, and we can do on-site, in-person workshops with your clients. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And it's good for everyone to know where those resources are, both on our website and DDS's website. Thank you so much. All right. Okay, folks, little QIP fun. So as most of you vendors know, right, it's QIP time that everybody's getting in their QIP surveys. Let me just share my screen, just a moment. So right, just a reminder, we'll be reminding folks every week. We know how essentially important it is for you guys to get the highest rate that you possibly can to implement your service. So we'll be reminding folks that the QIP surveys are due at the end of this month, the end of February, the 27th. Each week, DDS on Monday submits the new report regarding who is in compliance, right? Who's completed the QIP requirements and who still needs to be. That list is here. One thing that I saw today that I had not yet seen is that this is are you guys seeing this checklist, the provider checklist? So I'll drop this in the chat. So this is, oh no, it's hiding from me. I'll put it in the chat in a moment. But this is a really nice, just one-step shot of for like what the requirements are for all service provider. It links to all the directives and things that need to occur. There's the specific breakout for the employment services providers, which we know are supported employment, both group and individual, right? And then the residential service provider requirements for the prevention and wellness. So I do want to drop this in the chat. One moment, because I thought that was pretty cool. And I hadn't noticed it myself before. I don't know if you guys already have. And a lot of our vendors, right, really have successfully completed this. So I wanted to give you guys just a snapshot of our numbers today. So as of this week, which was Monday, we have 159 vendors that have not completed the capacity survey. And about 2 weeks ago, that was several hundred more. So we are seeing progress, right, with the capacity survey. And then right now we still have the same number as we did last week in regards to the EVV. We have 9 vendors who have not yet completed the EVV. Scott's team on the HCBS crew, they'll be reaching out and helping those vendors, making sure that we're in compliance with those. Another area that we're going to be doing some outreach on is to our residential service providers, because we currently have about 256 adult residential service providers who have not yet completed the prevention and wellness, right? So we really want to encourage folks to do that. So like we said, we can maximize their rate. We only have 13 children's residential providers that have not yet completed this is just the capacity survey. And then for the prevention survey. And then we only have 9 vendors who have not completed the employment. So definitely an improvement from the past couple weeks. And we do have, right, the whole time of February to get these things done. We will continue to do outreach to our vendors. Continue to send your QIP questions to QIPquestions@DDS. If you guys have not yet received your survey link, right, it all started with an emailed survey link that you then complete from that email. So do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. And I see that Eric has got his hand raised from UCP. Go ahead, Eric.
My mic cut or speaker cut out when you did the EVV numbers. What was the EVV numbers that you said were not compliant? I think you said for Alta.
It's 9. It was the same as last week.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because we did get confirmation that the EI vendors aren't part of it, so that drastically reduced that list.
Okay, so
There was
9.
yeah,
Okay, that's a huge difference. Yeah.
huge difference. Mhm.
Okay. And then a number of folks have mentioned the audits. And so I just really wanted to highlight that. I was working with some other of our statewide groups that were checking their status on the EVV, the provider survey, and the audit. And the audit seems to be the one that there was the most surprises on, where vendors are saying, "Oh, I'm sure I've done that," and then they almost didn't check it until we shared these links and we had people check,
Oh,
and
okay.
then they looked and that there's something off. It would show them not compliant with the audit requirements. And I just want to make sure people understand. We've been saying that February 27th deadline is for the provider capacity survey because that's the new thing. But as I understand it, all of these measures have a February 27th deadline. And if that's different, please let me know. But that's how I read the directives and these other items. So I think it's just really important that all vendors are checking this list. I've got a spreadsheet of all my vendor numbers for all of those different categories and checking it off. And even if you think you're compliant on the vendor audit, double check. And please, if you know vendors in other regional centers, it seems to be a statewide issue where there's some surprises. And as I understand it, Jordan, people are supposed to go to the regional center for the audit requirement correction, correct?
Yeah, let us know if you are not seeing that your audit has been complete, and we can consult with our COO's team regarding that. Absolutely.
Gotcha. So I'm seeing comments in the chat that are sort of verifying a lot of these items. So I just wanted to really point that out. The EVV is starting to get cleaned up. I still would say if we only have 9, that's great. But I've
Mhm.
seen I've been focused a lot on the statewide EVV numbers of non-compliant. So I'm really trying to get people to check that.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
I know that there were some people that were missing on the EVV lists, and so that's why we're going to keep tracking on it. So EVV is important, but I would just really encourage folks to double, triple check the audit requirement and clarify that is a regional center follow-up that you need to do. And you have until the end of February, the 27th, to clear all of these items, or you're not QIP eligible for that next fiscal year, or until it gets corrected. I'm not sure if they'll offer mid-year corrections. But I just wanted to clarify that because that's what I've been hearing at a statewide level on the QIP issues. Please check those. It also takes some time, Jordan. Sorry, I've received a few calls this week from folks saying, well,
Yeah.
I've done the survey and it's not showing, and people worry. And I've said, hey, you've got till the end of the month. It may take a week or so for DDS to get your information and update that. So if it's not showing up immediately, wait for the new list to
Yes.
be released. Look at the top date. All of those links have a date at the top. Make sure that you save the old one. And when you see the new one come up with the new dates, if you're still not on it, then reach out because it's not immediate. Some people were thinking it was immediate and thought there was a problem. And so it could take a week or more for it to show up on those lists.
Absolutely. And we are seeing it take a week or more because we've been getting a lot of emails, right? Because we send out right at the beginning of January, we sent out those mass emails to hundreds of vendors, and we're getting responses back that people are like, this is my confirmation that I've completed my survey. So we're just encouraging, right, that we can
Yeah.
send that stuff to DDS. And then I am seeing at least a week, maybe a little bit more. So I agree with your assessment of that.
So I would say if save your confirmations if you get it.
Hmm.
You're only going to get a confirmation for the survey, not like your EVV status, whatever it is.
Hmm.
If you download one of those DDS forms and it shows you're compliant, save the form. UCP and several other people's with the provider directory had an issue where it showed us compliant 1 month, and then the next month we were not compliant. And I had to show them a previous record, right? So whatever data you have that shows you're compliant, save it. If you're not compliant, do the survey or email the regional center. And what's the email? Who should they email for Alta to do their vendor audit if they need to do that?
You could I don't think we have any special email for that. So I mean you could reach out to your specialist, but let me go ahead and just put my email in the chat, Eric.
Do you have a general like QIP or like rate email that could work? I
don't know
thought
for
Alta
reading.
had something for like when we did provider directory. Maybe not.
I'm sorry.
You
No,
guys-
we do have something for I think we do, but I got to check. I apologize. It's kind of Michelle's baby, but I
It's
will
okay.
check. But for this week, if you guys have any questions about your audits, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, and I will make sure that the information gets over to our COO's team, Iqbal's team.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I see Andrea, please go ahead. Oh, sorry, just one other thing. Eric, I'll see if there's some numbers that maybe we can share about the auditing. I'll look to see if there's some numbers maybe we can share next week with the group, just so we know how many people are in compliance with that or not.
Sure. I do it each one with the new update. So I
Oh,
know
cool.
your numbers according to the DDS spreadsheet, but your
Uh-huh.
internal numbers are always different,
Yeah.
or
So,
often different. So yeah, it'd be
okay.
great to see that next week. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I didn't pull that number for my summary today, so we can do that.
Gotcha.
Go ahead, Miss Andrea.
Hi, yeah. So we also have that. I just want to kind of echo some of the things that Eric is saying. The issue where we are non-compliant with our audit, on the list, we got like confirmation from your auditor as well as Michelle Duchesne. I think she emailed DDS the quick questions and included me in it. And we're going on 3 or 4 weeks where they have not updated that yet. And this week, DDS responded to Michelle's email with our provider survey information, which was not what we were asking for. So I know we still have until the end of February, but it's a little concerning because even if you don't have the audit and the EVV, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but
It's a big deal.
then you don't, even if you do the provider survey, that doesn't matter because we don't have the other. And we're also having issues with the our employment QUIP survey, which I know is not necessarily something that like you guys can handle. So I have had to reset it 4 or 5 times since November, and I cannot access it.
Okay.
And I have an email out, and that was like
Okay.
that's going on 2 weeks now too. So just kind of
Does DDS responded at all that they're even trying look into
they
more than one
were
thing?
up and they were up until they were responding and helping in like November and December, but I did one. I'm getting my weeks confused, either this week or last week, and I haven't heard back from that. And I think I was able to like log into one in like early December and it worked for a second, but now it just says that it's expired or I've done it. And I know I haven't done that one and I'm working on the other. But even in the response with like Michelle saying no, like in Alliance's audits are correct for these vendor numbers, or we have it and have all that confirmation, they still responded back with here's your provider survey information. So that's a concern.
You're all no. That's not what I'm referring to.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm saving all of those things and I'm responding back. I responded back with the date of their list saying I was still not compliant, even though been communicating back for like months that we are. Anyway, that was just sort of another thing if people need to save stuff and keep talking.
Absolutely right. Absolutely save this stuff. So I will update Michelle and John about that kind of area too. And you guys, Helen did. Thank you, Helen Neary. We do have an email for our audits. It's provider-audits@altaregional.org. So thank you so much, Helen, for that input. So that is in the chat for folks. So do not hesitate to reach out. Yeah, if you're having any barriers with the auditing piece. And I'll absolutely update John and Michelle. Michelle's our kind of direct contact with DDS for the QIP stuff. So
I CC'd them also, but I know they're probably getting 5,000 emails. But at the same.
No, right. Just so that we can kind of, just so they're aware of how things are going for vendors. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And no response yet. So I see vocational services. Thank you. You guys put that in the chat. You emailed Monday and you haven't received a response. So yeah, definitely can take a few business days, week or so. So we will continue to advocate the best we can to the department and make sure that your guys' accurate information is provided to them. And we'll continue to have weekly little updates here at Coffee regarding how those things are looking. I think we all know in learning the service provider directory that they had to extend things a few times just because on the DDS side, right, but they weren't able to operationalize all the changes and the errors that were occurring, right? So this is a new process, so hopefully it'll get smoothed out. But we'll definitely be talking about our numbers, so if people have an idea of how many vendors are still having barriers with the QIP surveys and such. All right, folks, we only have a few minutes left, but I did want to share. So you guys all know ARCA, right? The Association of Regional Center Agencies. And they put out, for those of you guys that don't know, they put out a Capital Currents weekly newsletter that's super handy, right? It lets you know what's going on weekly here at the Capitol. It gives the snapshot of kind of what's going on statewide. And then it also has some good federal news. But Michael Mercado, if you're still on, one of the things that I saw that was coming up is they're doing language milestones for young individuals who are deaf of hard of hearing, and looking at supporting early language access, preventing language deprivation, and advancing the legal equity, right? And it looks like that's taking place on February 20th. There is a registration link. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the chat. The other cool thing that I don't know if, if folks have had known parents that participated in, but the Parents Helping Parents, they're putting on different series of webinars. Some of those topics, if you click over, are regarding, transition planning, education and training, adult life, self-advocacy. So just some other cool resources. It's just a great spot to look for what's currently going on at the Capitol. I also know that, and if anybody here, PAC members, are in the Latterman Coalition, but it does look like that the Latterman Coalition is putting together a series of meetings with governor candidates, right, to really question them and see what their thoughts are regarding the Developmental Disability Service System. So this is also something that's cool. Eric, are any of you guys part of the Latterman Act Coalition? I know they just had their first one on January 26th with Betty Yee, and I'm assuming they're going to have more because it says a series of kickoffs. I'm not super familiar with it.
Yeah, so we're a member of the Latterman Coalition, and quick plug, not just for your PAC, but your local PAC here created the Capitol Coalition, which is the advocacy wing that's meant to represent us providers and our families and folks here so that we can be a bit more independent. And the Capitol Coalition is a member of the Latterman Coalition. So we engage with them. Key here for these series. So the Latterman Coalition is working to set up these town hall Q&A type sessions with potential candidates for governor. As we know, so much of the system resides on the governor's office and the priorities, which then comes from them through Department of Health and Human Services to Department of Developmental Services. And we are trying to understand how those candidates view our issues, what their positions would be, and probably most importantly, develop a relationship with them and some accountability with who potentially might sit in that seat. So just like we do this with the legislature, through our advocacy networks, we're doing that with potential governor candidates. So Latterman Coalition has taken that on. Please, we maybe drop that link in the website. That website will be updated. You can sign up for updates from the Latterman Coalition as those things come up. Consider registering for those events as they come up, and that's what's happening.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So I put that stuff in the chat, both the ARC occurrence and then the events for the Latterman Coalition. And I signed up today to start getting their events, Eric. So in my research for coffee agenda items today. So thank you guys so much for joining us. John Decker will be back next week. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Thanks for joining.